Добрый день.
Hello. I will be presenting the continuation of what I kind of did 2 years ago. So that is why it's the same presentation, but it is 2 years later, 2 years past. So those of you who listened to me, who heard me 2 years ago, you can take a snooze, take a nap for about 3 to 4 minutes because I will be making a short recap. So here it is. What am I talking about? I have decided to measure a round trip. What is a round trip? It means that I took the time that we see in the ping command, and I took the ripe atlas probes, actually the simplest one. It can be done by anyone. It's very easy. So I have decided to measure round trip from all atlas probes located in Central Asia to the external resources. And I chose the ones that are most popular according to the popularity data measured in different countries. And then with all this data, I made them kind of average to see a typical portrait of delays. And I didn't average them completely, but also depending on the time of day. So what was I was concerned about, or kind of was I interested in? This time that we see in ping consists of 3 parts: the processing time or propagation time at the final node, and usually that is not a very long period of time. It is even negligible, actually, according to some measurements, that's up to 5 milliseconds. So the end platform can add up to 5 milliseconds, and this is the time of passage, and it's a fixed because it's determined by the distance that the package, data package, has to pass through the fiber optics. And fiber optics is constant, it's there, and no one is touching it, so these are fixed. So another variable is the interface delays. And that happens when interface is overburdened, overbooked, and there are queues. And I was wondering if I could use Ripe Atlas to find these queues. You know, what is the difference between ping and Ripe Atlas? Ripe Atlas means there are many, many dots, many points. And if we do correctly the statistical processing, then we can remove these noise channels or overburden channels or constantly queue channels. And then we will see the objective information for the whole country. And we can see whether there are queues at the exit points, at the exit joints. So I didn't expect much 2 years ago. I didn't expect to see much last year. So I mean, like I said, the packages are being delivered, and they're being routed. If there are no queues, they just go one by one, and there are no delays with the equipment. However, whenever they're queued, they can spend time waiting, and this is the time of the additional delay that occurs or disappears depending on the time of day. Because there are hours when delay is longer or when delay is shorter. And if it's a wave-like situation, we can state that there is an overall kind of delay and overall overburden with accessing global networks. I chose the most popular or the most frequently accessed data collection services. As you can see, it was kind of unexpected. This Reska.ag, it's a kind of semi-pirate resource that shows movies. I mean, yes, what can I do? It is popular. So there are Western resources. There are some resources or kind of sites that are Russian, such as Kontakte and Yandex. So to compare the countries, I took 9 countries. In Europe, I had actually quite a good baseline 2 years ago because connectivity in Europe is very good. The service access points are very, very close to each other, and they're close to hubs. And then the situation for comparison was very vivid. So 2 years ago, I saw these kind of curves. You see them in front of you. You see that in some hours, in peak hours, there is a very strong growth of delays of about 20 milliseconds, which cannot be explained by anything other than uh, overburdened external channels or the interface queues. So 2 years ago, I said that the region has area to be improved in order to generally improve the connectivity of the regions, because there's some of the resources are not covered by are not sufficient resources. In 2025, I repeated these measurements, and I'm going to show you the results now. So this is what I see now. 8 out of 12 services now look the same, look identical. And in 8 out of 12 services, the fluctuations have completely disappeared. So 2 years ago, I said that there are fluctuations, that there are areas that needs to be paid attention to. I'm not sure that it had to do with my presentation, but it is obvious to me that the sector is working, that the sector ignored these fluctuations. And actually now we can see that 8 out of 12 services demonstrate a perfect picture, perfect connectivity. So it is excellent, and congratulations to you all. I commend all of you for doing this. Now, when it comes to TikTok or Yandex and VK, the connectivity is even better than in Europe. Europe demonstrated all the curves that you saw before. And now in Central Asia, TikTok, VK, Yandex has very good accessibility. Also, 2 years ago, I couldn't measure AliExpress, and the picture was very chaotic. Traffic was kind of randomly, sporadically distributed. So the data was so chaotic that I couldn't come up with the eligible or meaningful curves, but I don't see that anymore. Maybe it was the AliExpress, or maybe the operators themselves who took care of a better connectivity, but now it is not chaotic, and it has become now normal, and we don't see these load waves anymore, or we don't see the same chaotic picture. Here you can see some of the curves that was paying attention to. So this is AliExpress that is no longer chaotic, but still demonstrates the load waves. I think it's the only area that needs to be paid attention to after my comparative analysis and after my measurements. So you can see my clicker here, but so here you can see the waves, which are much higher than 5 milliseconds, which correlates very clearly with the DF time and the logic of the channel load. And it means that the line towards this resource is suffers from lack of resources, lack of available capacity. However, if we look at other pictures, this is Europe, so it's either flat line or they have some minor fluctuations within 2 milliseconds. This is the way Central Asia looks. Again, it's more or less a flat line or the fluctuations of under 3 milliseconds. This is a huge progress, and I really congratulate you on this achievement. Yes, we could do that. Yeah. The presentation will be made available, and you will be able to look at it thoroughly later. So these curves show these peaks, but if you look at absolute numbers and the difference between the top and the bottom, is negligible. So probably this is not the channel-related problem. The difference is very minor, so I think it's a problem related to the platforms themselves, not to the connectivity. Now, very brief and short conclusions. I like doing these studies that can be repeated and then can be used to track the dynamics and trends. Well, actually, making this study again in 2 years' time will be meaningless. I was interested to see whether it's going to work or not, by analyzing the pings. It was surprised, but actually it no longer works. So we do not think that it will be useful. So we won't be doing it again. I mean, there's always room for improvement, but in order to understand this kind of potential of this improvement, we might need a more delicate instruments, a more kind of in-depth analysis with the help of Rive Atlas, of course, but less straightforward. So thank you. I had a very positive presentation today. Thank you.